Okay, I went on a run today with my buddy throughout the Miami city. It was unbelievable. We went to the gym right after that, all sweaty. We got a nice workout in. So it was a great morning. And while I was in the gym, I had this great idea, and I was like, what would I do if I didn't know how to get into shape? Where would I start? Okay, so this video is going to be exactly what I would do if I was just starting off trying to get into shape again. Okay, so the first thing that we're gonna have to do, step one, is you're gonna have to start. Okay, because you could say you want to start, you could say you want that dream physique, and you could say that you want to feel confident in your skin again, but if you're not actually willing to put in the work for the rest of your life doing this, then it's going to end up you just falling back to the victim, or falling victim to the person that you used to be, okay? So that's not what we want. We don't want that. So you have to be willing to start and do this for the rest of your life, because health is wealth, okay? There's no generational wealth without generational health. That's what I always like to preach. So starting is going to be our first task. The second thing that we're gonna have to do is learn how to train correctly, okay? Because you're gonna hit a bunch of plateaus if you don't learn to actually train correctly, which that will also lead into macros and calories. But first we have to focus on the training side, because if you just go to the gym and start training, you're probably gonna see 30% more gains than if you were to do nothing, okay? Again, I like to do it, and I like to preach this as well. I would say dieting is gonna be 70% of getting to shape, but then training is going to be 30%, okay? So if you just implement training, you're gonna see 30% gains, in my opinion, okay? That's why we call it newbie gains, because when you first start going to the gym, you're just gonna get those newbie gains from just starting, because you have something different in your lifestyle, you're doing something healthy, your body's gonna transform in such a way, okay? However, if you start doing that for so long and you kind of hit a plateau, there's a reason for it. And the reason is because you're not tracking your macros and calories. This is step 3, okay? Or part 3. If you're not tracking your macros and calories, you're gonna hit some type of plateau. And the way that you're gonna do this, just for starters, this is gonna be the most basic information that you're gonna need, is you're gonna have to just go on the internet and look up TDEE calculator, okay? Total Daily Energy Expenditure. That's what it stands for. This is gonna give us a rough estimate of what our maintenance calories is, okay? So what I want you to do when you find that number, when you plug it in, and you plug in your height, weight, how active you are, etc., then you're gonna take that number and you're gonna minus it by 500 if you're trying to lose weight, okay? Because that's gonna be a good starting spot for going on a calorie deficit. This is known as a calorie deficit, okay? Minusing your calories, okay? From what your actual maintenance calories is. If you're trying to gain weight, whatever that maintenance calorie says, then you have to plus 500 or plus 600, right? Based on what you guys can just test it out, see how many calories you can actually eat above it, and start small, okay? And then start to build up a tolerance to more food, or build a tolerance to less food, I guess. Does that make sense? I don't know, but you know what I'm trying to say. So that's gonna be step 3. You're gonna have to learn how to track your calories right there. Now, the very, very important part of all this is making sure that we hit all of our macro goals, right? So the next thing you're gonna do is look up macro calculator. You're gonna plug in all this information. It's gonna give you all the macros that you need, okay? And whatever it tells you, how many ever you need, you have to fit that macro size into how many calories that you're eating, okay? So say you have to eat 190 grams of protein because you're 190 pounds. That's also very important. 1 gram of protein per pound body weight that you are, okay? So if you're 200 pounds, you're eating at least 200 grams of protein, all right? It may be a little bit different if you're 300 pounds. Obviously, it's a lot harder to actually eat that much protein, so we have to judge this based on height. Again, you can put that into your macro calculator, and it's gonna tell you exactly what you need. Next, the fourth and final thing is discipline and removing all types of temptations in your life, okay? And what I mean by temptations is, if you have cookies sitting on your dang counter right there, if you have popsicles and Cheetos and Cheez-Its right there, of course you're gonna get hungry and you're gonna go and snack on it, okay? Especially if you're going on a calorie deficit, your body's gonna be, a little bit more hungry, but you get used to that as well. But to make this easier, remove those temptations from your household, right? If you think it's a bad habit for yourself, it's not gonna be a good habit for your family either. So remove it for everybody, because at the end of the day, we want our whole entire family to be happy. We want them to be healthy, right? Because Again, there's no generational wealth without any generational health. You want to set the example for your children. You want to set the example for people around you. You want to have that confidence in your own skin, all right? So the only way you're gonna do that is by removing that temptations and not snacking on these things, adding extra calories and extra fat that we don't need, right? All that saturated stuff, get rid of it, okay? Now, discipline. If you're not willing to actually stay disciplined and do the things that you need to do in order to get to the goals that we want to be at, you're not going to be able to, live that long, healthy lifestyle that you want, and you're not going to be able to attain that dream physique that you want. You may gain some progress, but again, you're going to fall victim to the person that you used to be, and we don't want that, all right? So at the end of the day, use those 4 steps right there, guys, if you want to get to the physique that you want. And that's very basic information. If you implement that, you'll learn, and you'll be able to, do a bunch of little tweaks and stuff like that and adjustments on your own, and you'll be able to actually, get into the shape that you want. But again, gotta stay disciplined. So if you're watching this video and you're someone who is struggling with getting into the shape that they want and they just don't know where to start, even if I'm telling you this information right now and you want to save time and stress from having to learn how to do all this stuff, guys, I'm gonna drop the link in the description to book in a call with me. Again, what I have inside is a tailored training plan and meal plan. It's one-on-one coaching. You're gonna be with me 24/7. I'm gonna hold your hand along the process, along with you're gonna join the like-minded community with a bunch of my guys who are chasing the same exact goal as you, and we have group calls every Sunday. Everybody loves it. I'm excited to talk to you. If that's something that you're interested in, obviously book in that call and let's get it.